Right now, in your kitchen, in your refrigerator, your bread box, your cereal cabinet, your snack drawer, there are foods that are completely illegal in dozens of countries around the world. Not illegal because of trade disputes or tariffs. Illegal because those countries looked at the science, looked at what these foods contain, and made a decision that their citizens deserved better. A decision that the United States, in most cases, has still not made. We are talking about foods you probably had this morning. Bread with your breakfast, milk in your coffee, a bowl of brightly coloured cereal, a sandwich for lunch. These are not obscure products or niche processed foods. These are the staples, the everyday foods that fill the carts of millions of families every single week. Today on Bite Uncovered, we are going through them one by one. By the end of this video, you will look at your grocery cart very differently. Your morning bread. Every morning, millions of people in the United States make toast, pack a sandwich, or pick up a burger without any awareness that the flour in their bread may have been treated with a chemical that the International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies as a possible human carcinogen. Potassium bromate is a flour strengthening agent. It makes dough rise higher, bake faster, and produces a bright white finished loaf that consumers associate with freshness and quality. It is cheap, effective, and widely used across American commercial baking. Animal studies have linked it to kidney tumors, thyroid tumors, and mesothelioma, a particularly aggressive cancer, in rats. The concern is not purely theoretical. Potassium bromate is only supposed to be fully neutralized during baking, but studies have found residual amounts in finished bread products, meaning consumers may be ingesting an active carcinogen with every slice. More than 50 countries, including the entire European Union, the United Kingdom, Canada, China, India, and Brazil, have banned it entirely and replaced it with safer dough conditioners that achieve identical results without the cancer link, though California became the first state to restrict it in 2023. It remains in your bread today, and it does not have to appear in any prominent way on the front of the packaging. The milk in your coffee. This one affects something so basic, so daily, so universally consumed that most people find it genuinely hard to believe. Recombinant bovine growth hormone, RBGH, also called RBST, is a synthetic hormone manufactured by Monsanto and injected into American dairy cows to force them to produce more milk than their bodies would naturally generate. It was approved by the FDA in 1993. It remains legal and in widespread use across the United States today. The European Union banned it in 1999. Canada banned it. Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Israel, and Argentina all refused to permit its use. The concerns are multiple. First, RBGH-treated cows develop significantly higher rates of mastitis, a painful udder infection requiring repeated antibiotic treatment. Those antibiotics enter the milk supply, contributing to the broader crisis of antibiotic resistance that the World Health Organization has called one of the greatest threats to global health. Second, and more directly concerning for human health, RBGH-treated cows produce milk with significantly elevated levels of insulin, like growth factor 1, known as IGF-1. Multiple peer-reviewed studies have linked elevated IGF-1 levels in humans to increased risks of breast, prostate, and colon cancer. A landmark study published in the medical journal The Lancet found a strong correlation between high IGF-1 levels and breast cancer risk. When you buy regular supermarket milk in the United States, you have no way of knowing whether it came from RBGH-treated cows or not. Labels are not required to disclose it. The only way to avoid it is to specifically buy certified organic milk or milk explicitly labeled RBGH-free. The cereal your kids eat. Look at the color of almost any American children's cereal. Neon reds, electric yellows, vivid greens, bright blues. Those colors are not coming from fruit. They are coming from synthetic petroleum-derived dyes, chemical compounds that, in Europe, either require a government-mandated warning label on the packaging or are banned from food products entirely. The 2007 landmark McCann study, published in the prestigious medical journal The Lancet, found a significant link between 6 artificial food dyes and increased hyperactivity in children. The study was so compelling that the European Food Safety Authority responded by requiring a warning label on any food containing those dyes. The label must read, "May have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children." No warning label is required anywhere in the United States. Red dye 3 has its own separate story. The FDA itself determined in 1990 that Red 3 causes cancer in animals. The agency banned it from cosmetics in 1990 because of this finding. But it remained legal in food for another 35 years, finally being banned from food products in January 2025, with manufacturers given until 2027 to reformulate. Yellow 5 and Yellow 6 remain fully legal in the United States with no warning requirement. The pork on your plate. If you eat pork in the United States and you do not specifically seek out ractopamine-free certified products, there is a very high probability that the meat on your plate contains residues of a drug that is banned in more countries than almost any other food additive on Earth. Ractopamine is a beta-agonist drug, originally developed as an asthma medication, that is now used as a growth-promoting feed additive in American livestock farming. It forces pigs and cattle to convert more feed into lean muscle mass, reducing the time and cost required to bring an animal to market weight. It is used in approximately 45% of American pigs, 30% of American cattle, and an unknown percentage of turkeys. Over 160 countries have banned it. China, Russia, and Taiwan all prohibit its use and refuse to import American meat that tests positive for ractopamine residues. In 2013, Russia banned all US meat imports until they could be certified ractopamine-free. China has suspended entire American pork shipments after testing detected residues that violated their food safety standards. The United States does not require testing of meat for ractopamine residues before it reaches consumers. It does not require labeling, and there is no way for a consumer standing in a grocery store to know whether their pork contains it, unless the brand specifically and voluntarily certifies itself as ractopamine-free. The chicken you think is clean. American chicken goes through a process at the end of its production line that has become one of the most contentious food safety disputes between the United States and the European Union, a dispute significant enough that it became a major sticking point in post-Brexit trade. Negotiations between the US and the UK. In the United States, chicken carcasses are routinely washed in chlorine dioxide solution or other antimicrobial rinses after slaughter. The stated purpose is to kill pathogens like Salmonella and Campylobacter that contaminate the birds during processing. If chicken needs to be chemically decontaminated at the end of production, it is because the farming and slaughter conditions allowed contamination levels that should have been prevented upstream. The chlorine wash is, in the EU's regulatory view, a chemical cover-up for unsanitary production practices. EU law instead requires preventive hygiene measures throughout the entire production chain, cleaner facilities, more space per bird, stricter oversight, so that a chemical decontamination rinse at the end becomes unnecessary. Public opposition in the UK to accepting American chicken standards was so strong that chlorine-washed chicken became a political flashpoint, with British citizens and politicians arguing that accepting it would mean accepting a lower food safety standard than the one they had lived under for decades. That decision has not consistently been made for you, but now that you know what is in the food, you can start making it for yourself. Subscribe to Bite Uncovered, because every week we uncover another story about what is really on your plate and what the food industry is hoping you never think to ask about. The bite has been uncovered. Until next time.